what's up everybody? Welcome to another weekly Wednesday live stream by MSI. I'm Peter.
And I'm Mike. Hello.
It's been a while since I was on the business end of the camera.
I was here last week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've been. I'm
still in the flow.
Every stream. You know that. You know, I'm one of the.
You should.
I always try and hope I win one of the giveaways, but yeah, no luck
Never
so
won
far.
one?
No,
Too bad.
it's not my thing. I don't know. I think I've been excluded.
Win. It's for our external view.
Yeah, I know. But you know, sometimes even I'm an external viewer.
We always just filter him out if he wins.
I know.
I see some familiar faces already in the chat.
Yep.
Good to see you all. Resjas Lord, Edward. Hello, welcome to the stream, everyone.
Prima MM, hello, everybody.
Talking about the giveaway.
Yeah, speaking of, let's get it out of the way.
Our chatbot was spamming a little bit already, but that was still the old giveaway.
I think the chatbot has a bit of a hangover.
Yeah.
So he's still
living in the past.
Yeah, spamming.
But we have
link.
a nice new and fresh giveaway.
Yes.
If you go to msi.com/2/insider,
exactly.
then you will see a link where you can.
And this bot right here will spam the new link for you.
And the manual bot.
Exactly.
And there you see the new link to the giveaway to glean. You'll have several options there, several actions you can perform. The more you do, the bigger chance you'll have to win. If you didn't win the first time,
you don't have to do it all again. You only have to do it once every stream.
And you don't have to be sad yet,
because
you still have a chance to win.
Yeah, there are multiple Steam wallet codes we're giving away this stream.
And even at the end of the stream, you don't have to be sad, because next week there's another live stream.
Yeah, so there's pretty much always another one and another one.
Always
after
a
that.
new chance to win.
And it never ends, guys. It help. No.
The never-ending story.
Yeah. No, it's fine, you know. So there's always the next stream. So that's
hello,
nice.
Prima MM. Welcome to the stream.
Yep. Hello. I also saw another name that CJ Bale. Hi there. I also saw Beardy Baldy. That's a name you don't forget, you know. Good night from Indonesia, Prima. Wow. So, what time is it there? Because it's indeed. I think most of our viewers are from. We think that usually they're from either Europe or even the US. You know, waking up
North
right
America.
now, just about now. But maybe in Asia.
So good morning, North America.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Europe.
And good evening.
And good evening, Asia.
Asia. Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? So that's cool. CJ Bale already saying.
They already figured out what we're going to talk about today. We didn't even mention that.
No, well, kinda. You know, it's like there's a little bit of a giveaway, as in for the topic right there.
Yeah.
We did kind of say, and like
the boxes,
here, maybe subtle, right? Yeah. Subtle. I guess you guys didn't notice that yet.
Already compliments, cool headset and mouse.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we have a hey from Scotland.
You have to do that in a Scottish accent.
I'm not very good at Scottish accent.
Hello from Scotland. You tell me.
I think I need a couple of drinks for a Scottish
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some Scottish drinks. But you tell me how that was. Oh, our colleagues from Turkey are here. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you guys watching. Africa as well. Wow. Okay.
For Africa also. Good afternoon.
It's India. Wow, we've got people from everywhere here. This is really cool. It's nice to see, guys. Nice to see you. Give us a shout out where you're from. I mean, that's always nice to see.
Antarctica, anyone?
I'm just from a few doors away, literally.
Yeah.
But the NL in your name is kind of a giveaway there, right? It's like usually.
Yeah, but like literally a few doors away.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Guten Tag, Deutschland. Hello. Let's talk about Gear Up. Sponsor me. Oh my God, here we go. All right, so today we're going to be talking about these two products right here. These were introduced, quite recently, a few weeks ago, I think. So probably in a lot of countries they should already be on shelf.
Which means you can already buy them.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So if you are
a digital shelf, maybe, but.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, some shops is a digital shelf. But speaking of that, these are the kinds of products where we do really recommend that you.
Go to the store and try them out.
Yeah, experience it, because literally the mouse especially is a product you'll be, having your hands on quite regularly if you're gaming regularly. So it's one of these things where, don't just go off of specs. Yes, specs are important. We'll get back to that. But it's like literally something you have to go and experience. The headset is kind of similar, I guess. If it's comfortable on your head, that kind of thing. Sound quality as well, if it's something that you like or you don't.
And in that sense, gaming gear is quite different from some other components because for everyone, like the RTX 2080 Ti is pretty much the fastest graphics card, but not for everyone this is the best headset or that is the best mouse. It's way more preference based.
Yeah. It's much more subjective, right?
Exactly.
There's no clear objectivity. Well, you can do it based on specs, but that doesn't tell the whole story, as it does sometimes with
and
graphics
still
cards
also
or motherboards.
but like the shape is so important. For example, some people use a palm grip or use a claw grip, so all kinds of different factors that come into play if you're
you have big
choosing
hands, you have small hands. Do you like the right-handed ergonomic design, or are you more into the symmetrical shapes? There are even mice, shaped like kind of like a joystick. We've had some that are like supposed to be ergonomic as well. I guess.
Like the vertical.
I haven't tried it. Yeah, but exactly. So you're holding them more like like this instead of having to tilt your hand like this.
They're pretty comfortable, but did you ever try gaming with them?
No.
That's impossible.
I tell you what though, I used to have one of those mice where this was a fad or a trend for a while as well. With the big red tracking ball on top. So you actually didn't have to move the mouse. It was just sitting there stationary, and you had to move your fingers. Man, that was bad for your fingers.
Yeah, I think if you use it in the right way, I think it was too. I think they were actually invented to avoid pain in your hand because of holding the mouse.
Well, having to move it around specifically, I think, and the RSI, repetitive strain injuries, that kind of stuff. It was trying to prevent that, but I mean, having to roll around this ball with your fingers all the time was kind of rough on your fingers as well.
Yeah, true, but not as rough on your wrist. So that's it's a bit depending if you have
exactly. So it's a trade-off.
Problems,
it's trade-off.
But they are damn hard to game with.
Yes, that's it. I was trying. I was like, oh man, this is like using a freaking trackpad here. Wow.
Yeah, they're hard.
Yeah.
Also a cool challenge, by the way, gaming with a trackpad on a notebook.
Trackpad versus what's it called? Trackball?
Trackball.
Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting to see.
I think trackpad is even harder than
I think somebody gaming on a what is it, Dance Revolution map could actually beat that. I've seen people playing an FPS
some Counter-Strike on.
Yeah. I've seen people try. It was interesting as hell and entertaining as hell to watch.
Baltic Seal saying, if a mouse doesn't have at least 4 buttons under the thumb, it's a no-no for me.
Ooh,
for me, it's the exact opposite. I hate it when there's too many buttons there because I play arena shooters on a very low sensitivity. So if there's too many buttons there, it's super annoying. You have to grip
the mouse a lot and move it around.
Yeah, I have to pick it up a lot as well.
Yeah. So then you accidentally press the buttons.
Exactly.
There,
But
I mean,
also
4 buttons for the mouse. That's like MMO levels of That's
I think like more strategic kind of games.
Yeah.
There, people usually prefer more buttons.
You have to do like bind, make your own binds for them and stuff. Trackball is a superior mouse for shooters.
I dare to challenge that statement.
Mr. Phone Click is asking what's the giveaway for. It's for a $20 Steam wallet code, so stick around and make sure you apply if you want to have a chance to win, of course.
Edward is saying, I'm gaming with a touchpad, Age of Empires 2 HD.
Awesome.
It's a cool game, but
man.
I really like Age of Empires.
That brings
all the
back
paladins,
memories.
Like full armies of paladins.
Did you hear that they're busy making a remake, right?
I think that's already out. I think it's called the Definitive Edition.
Or was it? No, actually, they're working on 4. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I was going to say there was some
recently they launched the Definitive. I haven't tried that yet.
No, me neither.
But Age of Empires 2 HD is already a really cool game.
I spent way too much hours on that already.
Powerburner is saying, I'd like to see you make headshots on Quake 3 with that, Michiel.
Yeah.
Well, I played some Quake with Powerburner, and yeah, he got headshot a couple of times.
Ooh, ouch. All right.
Maybe next time on stream.
Yeah, who knows. All right, so I like what you're saying. Show us the product. So let's get down to that. So let's start with the mouse. Let's just, I'll move the boxes aside. So here we can see, I've got the mouse, of course, but I've got a bigger picture here. So as you can see, there is some nice RGB lighting in a U profile there at the bottom. Maybe it's better if I just take, because I have the mouse right here. We go to the close-up cam. So There you go. So it's the same thing in real life. There's some nice green color
green.
as well. Yeah,
Could see that.
but as you can see, there's some nice RGB there. It's not too ostentatious, you know. It's not too much. It's relatively subtle, but it involves both the dragon and the U profile here, and of course the scroll wheel as well. See, yeah, here we go. There you can see it. It's what we call a symmetrical shape, so that means that it's not like right-handed ergonomic. So it means that you can, if you want, use it with left or right hand.
I actually have the GM50 here, so this is...
There you can see the difference.
I had some water, so I just made it wet.
No, you have sweaty palms, it's okay. Mom's spaghetti.
Yeah, so here you can really see that it's shaped for right-handed users.
Maybe you can...
also on the front, it's easy to see the difference there.
Yeah. So this one is more symmetrical, and that one is like really for right-handed people with GM50. So that's one of the big differences. And again, this is one of like a real important hands-on kind of difference, where if you don't know yet, you know, give both of the mice a try, and not just for a few seconds, but you know, game on it for a bit. If a friend of yours has a different shape than what you have, try it out and see what you like best, because that's really that can really make a difference, especially on the long term. It has to be kind of comfortable. It has to be big enough for, you know, if you have big hands or small hands, it also makes a big difference. You have mice that are relatively small. I don't know. Let's see if there's a size difference here. There is a little bit, yeah. I don't know if you guys are seeing this.
Yeah, GM30 is a little bit longer, especially.
Yeah. It's a different shape as well, but so the GM50 is also a bit shorter. This one is a bit shorter.
Brian MM is asking what grip. Yeah, usually I would say that if you use either claw or fingertip grip.
Can we demonstrate what those are?
Yeah. So
like claw is. Maybe you can tilt the camera a little bit so we can try and show it.
A little bit.
Maybe this side is easier.
Yeah. So if you claw it, you have it like this.
Like a claw.
Yeah, like a claw. And also fingertip, so you really control it with your fingers and not with your whole hand.
But exactly, notice that the difference is that the palm of his hand is not touching the back of the mouse. That's why they call it the fingertip.
Yeah, so for claw and fingertip grip, you usually see that most people, so this is not for everyone, but most people tend to prefer symmetrical shaped mice.
Yeah, so that like the GM30 right here. Yeah.
For a palm grip like this, so all over.
The full hand there.
People usually prefer more
right-handed
ergonomic kind of mouse. Yeah. So that's...
Which is strange, because our GM50 is actually shorter than, and so you would think if you have your full hand on there, you know, it's lodged up against the back of your, the inside of your palm, you would expect that, you know, it covers more of the mouse, so you would need a bigger mouse basically in order to not, you know, let your fingers hang off the
Yeah, it also
edge.
really depends on the size of your hands.
Yeah, that's true.
So it really differs per person, and this is just in general. So you might use a palm grip but still prefer symmetrical shaped mouse, or you might use claw grip with an ergonomic type right-handed mouse.
So it's all down to you, you know, your own preference. So that's why, you know, again, this isn't really a thing of, you know, this is better than that, or what are all the pros using. This is really subjective and down to what do you find most comfortable, and what is best for you, basically. And the only way to find that out is by trying something. And I mean, most of the people, me included, when I started here as well, I didn't really have a clue about the different, you know, claw grip, fingertip grip. Who knows that? You just do something, you know, you just do whatever feels right or intuitive, and you stick with that, or not, and you change it. But so if you start doing the, you know, testing it with different grips yourself and finding out what, you know, you like best, sometimes you can actually discover, like, okay, this is actually much more comfortable than I thought.
I actually use 2 different kind of grip styles.
You do?
Yeah, so I switch in between palm grip and claw grip. It depends on where in the game I am. Like if I try to aim more precise from a longer distance in the shooting game, I tend to go for palm grip. If I'm more up close and picking up my mouse a lot and turning and twisting, then I use a claw grip.
That kind of makes sense, because then you're throwing the mouse around. Well, if you really want, you know, the small movements, you kind of anchor the mouse with your wrist, and then you have, you know, much more control and subtle movements that way, other than you know, if you're like lifting the mouse and doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of makes sense.
So I'm in the middle, kind of in between those. I don't use fingertip. I cannot aim with it. But it's something you have to try out yourself. And usually the best way to find out what you really use is just put a camera in front of your mouse and just game. Yeah. So you don't pay attention to it. So you don't force yourself to do anything different. Exactly. Just play the game like you always would, and then you can just see on the video what kind of grip style you use. Yeah. I want to see hashtag 2019 RGB era. You're spot on, you know. I mean, does it make the mouse better? No, but does it make it look more attractive? Of course it makes it better. You make more headshots with RGB. Everyone knows that. Yeah. Like you run faster with a knife, you know, when I go jogging. You don't even want to know how many times I got arrested. No, but yeah, that's one of the things. There's already some people talking about the sensor. So yeah, let's dive into the specs a little bit as well, because you know there's some things on the outside. We were just talking about the shape, obviously. But we also have, and the RGB, but we also have on the side, you have the side grips. And I also want to tell you a little bit about that. I mean, pretty much every mouse has side grips these days. And we have like our own pattern, which I find really comfortable as well. And it's rubber, it's not plastic, so it's a little bit softer. The thing is, these are done in a way that's called double injection molding, which basically means that they're not like glued on or something, so they won't let go. They're actually molded into the shapes, and so that's much more sturdy. This is a technique that's also being used by, for example, a lot of tools like screwdrivers and stuff, you know, the handles there, or stuff that's being used in professional like building and stuff that needs to last. You know,
exactly, it makes the mouse more durable.
Exactly.
Especially if you stick them on after a while with all the sweaty hands and stuff, then the glue doesn't hold for years. Yeah. So then it might come loose.
And indeed, sorry, Baltic Seal, there's only 2 thumb buttons. I'm sorry. But they're very good ones. You know,
but maybe in the future, you never know. We might release something with more.
It's about quantity. No. No, but it's, I mean, maybe in the future we will have mice with more. I mean, at the moment we've noticed that most people, you know, require just 2. And that's also the number that's basically standard in, you know, being supported in Windows, for example, and in other in most games as well. All others are optional, and you know, have to be just custom assigned.
You can have custom key bindings for them, pretty much. So for some strategy games, that can be really interesting.
But let us know. I mean, if there's more people that are saying, you know, we need more thumb buttons, then you know, maybe that's something we can look into for future products. Then indeed, you know, I saw some people already commenting on it. The sensor in there, very, very important. Of course, that's located at the bottom on the inside, basically. You can see maybe a little bit of a glow there. Can you see it?
And what I really like is that the sensor is also right in the middle. In some mice, you see that it's a little bit more towards the top end or the bottom of the mouse. Yeah. And if you make like very subtle movements, that can make a difference in how far you aim. So I really like the center placement of the sensor. Yeah.
So it's really centered indeed. And it's a PAW3327 optical sensor by PixArt. It's a really good sensor. I've tested it in a lot of different scenarios as well. I haven't missed any shots, or let's say not down to, you know, inaccurate tracking. So it's very accurate. It's very fast. It has up to 6200 DPI. So I mean, these are the things where I've seen a lot of people saying, you know, higher DPI is always better. It's not always like that.
I play on 800 DPI, for example. For me, tracking is more important than DPI. So I would suggest test it out, see if it can keep up with your tracking, and that's for me the most important thing, at least.
Indeed. So it's not like, you know, with megahertz or whatever, you know, that higher is always better. Again, it's about trying it out and seeing, is it actually comfortable? Does it do what I need it to do, and is it accurate enough? So that's one of the things. But again, it's a very good sensor, and it has it supports a polling rate also of up to 1000 Hertz, which we'll show you later in the software. You can edit that if you want. But I mean, basically, you just want it to have the fastest polling rate anyway, because polling rate, for those who don't know, is just the rate at which the PC is, your PC is checking with your mouse. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And the more it checks, if you make a movement, it's basically the interval at which your mouse sensor can report, I'm actually moving, I'm moving to this location. So the more the more it does that, the more often it does that, the more precise it can track your movements. That's basically what it comes down to.
That's also what's especially important is the delay you have. Like if you have 1000 Hertz, it checks 1000 times per second.
Yeah.
So your delay will only be 1 millisecond.
Yes.
Whereas if you use like a standard office mouse, for example, they're usually 125 Hertz.
Yeah.
And then you will have 8 milliseconds of delay.
And a lot of the time, like wireless mice will also have the tendency, especially office mice, to have a low polling rate because power saving. Makes the battery last longer, but it will be less accurate. So for gaming, that's not really ideal, I would say. See some questions there about the weight of the mouse. So maybe it's something we can say there. According to our product manual, it's 98 grams. And to be fair, I mean, for me, it's not the lightest of mice, but it certainly is not heavy by any stretch of the imagination.
It's also not the smallest of mice.
No, exactly, yeah. But it's definitely not heavy. It doesn't feel heavy. I mean, again, it's just like almost 100 grams without the cable, to be fair, so they measure it without the cable. But yeah, it's a relatively light mouse, which for me makes it ideal for, I like playing FPS shooters anyway. And for that, that's where you want the light mice, right? You want to be able to make those flick shots and throw it around. This mouse will do that quite well, for me at least. But again, we keep stressing this. It's personal preference. Maybe for you, it's on the heavy side. Or maybe for you, it's on the light side. I've had people, whenever we have some of these products, we get it in the office and we let multiple people play around with them, get an opinion as well, because most of our colleagues are also gamers and enthusiasts. And the nice thing is that some will say, it feels so light, it feels like a cheap mouse and it should be heavier. And then another person will try it and will say, man, this thing is heavy, can't you make a lighter mouse? So the differences, the opinions differ so much on that. Yeah. But it's down to personal preference a lot of the times.
Tactical Dennis is saying higher DPI is good. Is good to know it's there, but I always end up using 1200 or 1600.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it differs. When at home I use 3 monitors, 3 times Quad HD, so 1440p. Yeah. So it's quite far in pixels all the way from the left to the right. So when I'm in Windows, I actually switch to 3200 DPI.
Yeah, higher,
but when I'm in game, I only use 800.
Because you want to be more accurate.
Yeah, so it's very nice also that there's a DPI switch on top, so you can easily switch in between different profiles.
And I'm also seeing something about Mr. Masterdox is saying, are these extra long live switches or the regular ones? Judging by the price, these are regular Omron switches. These are Omron switches, but they are rated for 20 million plus clicks, so a lifetime of at least 20 million. I think that is qualified as long life, I would say. I don't know what the exact specification, if there are any, probably there are also maybe with 50, 50 million, something like that. But I mean, you can do, a billion clicks. I think, you're more likely to, I don't know, want a different mouse than, have unlimited clicks for that. And at some point it just becomes, not of practical value, I'd say. I don't know, it's hard to, I would love an app that would keep track of how many clicks I do on average, during a month, and then multiply that by how long it would take me to reach 20 million, because I'm willing to bet that it would probably be years, at least, many years.
I think that depends a lot on what kind of game you play.
If you play a lot of those OSU games, that you played before, and then and you're constantly furiously
but also
clicking away.
But also, if I see people playing the MOBA games, they're usually also clicking a lot, just click all the time.
Yeah, true. But I mean, still, 20 million. That's a hell of a lot.
I have no idea actually how long it would take. Good question.
Again, it's one of these numbers where it's a huge number, to quote a certain somebody. But you know, what does that mean? Does that mean you get, you know, how many years on average is that for the average person? It's a hell of a lot. Let's just keep it at that. These days, people drill holes in the mice. Yeah, I know. It's to make it lighter, you mean, right? Because you also have those honeycomb structure mice, you know, which are like the ultimate lightweight mice.
Some people also like 3D print different shells for their mice, and they just take the PCB with the sensor and stuff out, and they put it in a 3D printed shell. So some people really prefer the extreme light. I don't like it that light.
No.
But that's, of course, personal preference as well.
And also, I mean, I'm not sure about you guys, but if there's a mouse with like holes in it, how are you ever going to clean that? Because I don't know, but for me, there always gets, you know, it's skin that comes off your fingers and stuff. And so if you game for a couple of months on it,
or if you eat a lot of snacks behind your desk, if you're ever hungry, you only have to shake your mouse a couple of times so you have a new meal.
You can just lick it. No, but I mean, that's one of the practical things where I was thinking, how the hell, I mean, it's okay, fair enough, it's light and it looks okay, it looks fine. But how are you ever going to clean that? You know, there is going to be, you know, dust and other stuff getting in there. How are you going to clean that? And did they consider that? I don't know. It's just, if you know, then let us know. But it's one of those things where instantly my mind went to like, but how would you, how would you clean that? Sure, maybe you just take it, you know, take the cover off and clean it. Could be.
But that also is asking, what kind of material is the cable made out of?
This one, it's maybe we can do the close-up.
Yeah.
This one, it's well, regular, I want to say, but it's just
TPU, I think.
Yeah, rubberized TPU. So it's it's like a hard rubber type finish. Yeah. But it's fine, you know. It doesn't really catch on anything. Also, note that from the side view, basically, this is an important little detail. Most mice get this right, but still, note that the cable is lifted off the bottom. It doesn't, you know, I've seen some mice which actually have the cable come out at, you know, where the mouse touches the surface. Then you're a bit more likely to get, you know,
cable drag
or stuff like that. So now it's actually, and again, you know, this is like a big giant mouse pad right here, and as you can see, there's absolutely no drag from the cable. Basically, it just slides along there. So there's no, nothing to worry about there.
I was still saying I prefer a heavy mouse. Really preference based. Some want it as light as possible. I like it somewhere in the middle.
Here's a good question. Should we reintroduce, because this was a trend a long time ago, maybe it still is on some mice, should we reintroduce the dynamic weight system, like, you know, that you could add or remove weights in the bottom of the mouse? Are you in favor or not?
I always throw them out.
Same for me. I don't know. Either that or you just, you know, do it once and then leave it alone.
Because usually the mice that have that, if you put the weights in, you go well over 100 grams.
Yes.
And for me, at that point, it's not comfortable anymore.
Yeah, it's too heavy, maybe.
Yeah.
So also, again, you know, do you like braided or sleeved cable or you know,
Mr. Master say braided is extra stiff. I actually don't like.
Again, also personal preference and your personal experience. Some people will say, well, you know, braided is much better because it's more, you know, premium and it doesn't drag. And
I agree with Mr. Masterdox for mice. I also prefer the non-braided one, but for example, for headsets, I tend to drive over the cable with my office chair.
I don't know.
There I need a cable, not
you need an armored cable. You need shielded, and I don't mean shielded as in, you know, protecting against interference, but protected against your wheels. Chair, probably.
Hydro is asking, any Gleam link? Yes, I will put it in chat for you, and maybe it's a good time to draw our first winner for the giveaway.
Let's do that.
So if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider. You can perform different actions there. The more you will perform, the bigger chance you will have to win.
Exactly. I'm sorry, by the way. I'm having a little bit of a tickle in my throat, or however you call that. So I will cough every now and again.
Happens once in a while.
It's nothing serious. It's just, you know.
It's just a throat disease.
When you have, it's not terminal, luckily. Not that I know, at least. No, but you know.
So if Peter is not here next week, you know what happened.
So our first winner is...
Our first winner is... Can you move the mouse, please? Busur.
Busur is the nickname. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You won our first $20 Steam wallet code. We will email it to you in the coming days.
Yes. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Do something useful or not with it. Yeah. Buy skins, buy games. Just throw it at gaming.
Buy software nowadays.
Yeah, just wait until the Steam sale maybe, and then
Tactical Dennis is saying
give it all to Gaben.
The weights were just there to show friends, never changed it twice. It
was one of those things where I really think there is something to it, I guess, because Mr. Mastodox is saying better release mice with different weight categories. Sure, but I mean then you would have to, if you want in just you have certain aspects to a mouse. You have the sensor, you have the shape, you have the finish or whatever other features. So if you want to have people where they want a certain mouse but they don't like the weight, you would have to to cater to everybody. Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to make so many combinations of the same mouse with regards to weight, with regards to sensor, with regards to other things. It's really hard. So I mean, I agree with you. That would be the perfect thing, but I don't think that's realistic. That's going to happen. So it's kind of like we just make some mice where we try to judge what would be okay for most people, but obviously that means a hell of a lot of people will not be. It will not be their thing. It will not be their exact weight that they like, or the exact sensor, or the exact shape, or so it's really difficult making these things. Or at least to try and please everybody, because it's impossible. Mr. Mastodoc, I see your point, and you're also. It's a good point. Seems like a bit of a waste to not use this product introduction to give away a couple of these products or these mice, for example. No, but the thing is, we actually kind of stopped doing physical prizes.
As you saw in the beginning of the stream.
There were people from Indonesia, from the US, from Africa, from everywhere. Indeed, the cost of this mouse, I saw some people already saying it was in Europe maybe like 35, under 40 euros, something like that. So imagine having to ship one of these to somewhere in Asia.
Malaysia, for example.
It will actually far exceed the costs of the product. And we've done this a couple of times, and in the end we just thought, this doesn't make any sense, because it means that we have to reduce the number of prizes we can give, because it costs a hell of a lot of money to send it, just logistical costs. Also, we've had it a couple of times where somebody would have, in the meantime, changed the address, and so they would deliver the product at the old address, and then they would keep sending us emails like, I didn't receive it because I moved, and then we'd have to try and retrieve the product and send it there, or it would get damaged along the way, stuff like that happens, and then we have to send it back, and then, oh man, it was a nightmare. So in the end, the best thing we can do here is that by sending you or giving codes like this, like digital prizes, there is no extra cost involved. So all the costs that we can spend on this, we can actually spend on giving it to you. So we thought that was a better trade-off, I guess. That's good to hear, Aditya. MSI is huge in Indonesia. That's nice. Indonesia is also huge for MSI.
Sagar Gupta is asking, why don't you give away MSI $20 gift card? Because it's all different kind of stores that sell MSI products, so that's extremely complicated.
That's a nice idea, though.
You
need some MSI box tactical. Say. Maybe we should launch our own cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. No, I mean, again, it's not really.
It's extremely complicated.
That, and it would cost a hell of a lot of money to set something like that up. I mean, again, it's just easier to use something that's already there, and in the end, it gives us the opportunity to give you more value as well. So that's why we made that choice, basically. Yeah. What is the price of GM30? Daniel is asking. Well, it depends on where you're living, but it should be around, what was it, $40 US. So in euros, it's about 35-ish.
So that's MSRP, but it changes from region to region, and from store to store.
Yeah, and we can't enforce prices. So if your shop wants to give them away for free or wants to give them and you know, add money to them, that's fine. They can do that. So it really depends on your store. So that's why we're also saying, you know, check your local stores where they sell peripherals, and there you'll find out what the price is for you. The price is right.
Yeah.
So do we need to cover anything else? Oh yeah. So we already covered, you know, so you guys, a lot of you guys know a lot about these things. So you have, maybe I can show the exploded view here. So there's like an exploded view of the mouse. And you can see that there's a lot of things going on. There's of course the shell, the inner shell with all the parts here. Here you can also see that the grip is actually part of like the whole shape of the mouse.
Shell, yeah.
It's not like a part that's glued on. It's actually part of the mouse design on the inside. Then of course you have the little PCB with the sensor here. That's the PAW.
Where the magic happens.
Exactly, yeah, the PAW 3327. You've got the two main switches for the left and right mouse button. These are Omron. And then we've got actually two different switches for the side buttons right here. And these are Huano.
Exactly.
And from what I've heard, and I mean, you don't really notice it, but as in, I haven't really noticed it. But apparently the Huano switches are a bit more stiff. Is that right? Yeah. So they get a little bit more resistance, I would say. But because it's your mouse pressing up against them, of course your mouse, it's your thumb pressing up against it. Your thumb tends to have a little bit more strength in it than the other fingers. So maybe that's the offset that you don't really notice it that much.
Yeah, it's that you don't make accidental presses with the side buttons, which is usually you have more control also over the fingers used for your main mouse buttons.
Yes.
So there, it's usually okay to have them a bit more responsive.
Yeah.
Still, for some people, you might think Omron switches are too responsive. So some people prefer Huano switches also under the main mouse buttons. But we think the best balance is that you have Omron switches under the main and Huanos in the side mouse buttons because they're a little bit more stiff than the Omron. Yeah,
and that's fine, you know. And also, you know, because of the shape of the side buttons, there are, they're sticking out a little bit, as you can see here. So that, you know, it's more like, it's not like directly pressing. You don't have to directly press up against it, but it's more like, you know, when you just swipe it basically with your thumb, you already press it. So it's also, this kind of shape also helps to make it just a little bit easier to press, or to, you know, when you want to do that. You don't have to actually press it like that from above. You can just swipe it up and you'll press it. So that's also one of the things that makes it a little bit easier. Again, there's a lot of thought that goes into these designs and stuff. I also didn't know for a long time before I got into this. So we thought, you know, we'd give you a little bit of an insight into what kind of stuff goes into this. There's a lot of things you can do. Also cool about the RGB, you can of course use our software, which I'll show you in a minute. But first I want to show you that you can also do it without any software. So if you don't have any software installed, we also try to on our both our keyboards and mice headsets. So far it's not the case, but we want to enable you to change the RGB or turn it off, if you will, without having to install software. So you can just press the DPI button, which is located in the middle below the scroll wheel, and at the same time press down the scroll wheel, and you will cycle through the effects that are programmed basically. So as you can see, it'll start flipping out with different color profiles and stuff like that. Static, rainbow, off, also for some people quite important. Single color, static.
And this is something you now see in more of our products. And last week we talked about our Creator X299 motherboard, for example. There we also introduced a feature that you can switch off the lighting in the BIOS instead of having to install software. And on these kind of products, you can also do it on the product itself rather than having to install software. Of course, you can still use the software. It's compatible with Mystic Light.
Well, actually, we'll show you guys that now, because there are a lot of a few other extra things in there as well. So we've already got Dragon Center up. So it used to be, you know, we had different programs of software. You had what was it called? Gaming Center, I think, it was for gaming gear specifically to control settings like DPI settings, detailed settings. And you had a separate Mystic Light software for Mystic Light stuff. and so on and so on. So you have different softwares for different things, but on the same product. For
motherboards, got a cool suggestion in chat, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Play Osu with the GM30 like before.
Maybe.
I think it's still on there, so maybe we can give it a go.
Maybe later on. No, but I mean, so we already made in the past couple of years a big change, or at least we're trying to make this change. It's still an ongoing project. Obviously, you don't just do this overnight. Because it's a nightmare to make everything compatible with the same products and with all products. Because now it's one software that is trying to apply to all the new products that we have. So you need to make sure it doesn't interfere with other products unintentionally either. So it's a lot of testing and DQA going into that. So some of the functions here you can see Dragon Center. So the Gaming Gear has its own little tab here. And as you see, it will detect what you have connected. The icons here don't really show which product you have, because for the mouse, for example, this is the GM50.
The one I'm using, actually.
Exactly. Right? But when you click it, it will show you which one you have, which is, in my case, of course, the GM30. There it will show the correct image. And here you can see also, what you can reprogram your mouse buttons. You can just make them do other stuff. But also the sensor, there are some stuff you can change there. So of course the polling rate, we were talking about that. By default, it's set to 1000, which I think it should be the default for most people. But you can put it lower. I can't really think of a reason why you would do that, but it's there. So you can do that if you want. Maybe it can make a difference for some people. But
in theory, the CPU load of a lower frequency is a bit lower because it doesn't check as often.
But what kind of CPU do you need to have where that makes a difference?
Like in a
I think you have different problems if you.
Yeah, like the difference is so small.
You could dedicate one core to just doing this. In some CPUs
actually,
these days.
in some CPUs
you could do that. What's the number of cores on the latest AMD? Because that's the one with the most cores usually, right?
32 core, yeah. 32, 64 threads.
So your game is still running mostly on 4 cores.
Yeah.
So you have like 28 cores to do polling rate and stuff.
But like for most even mid-range CPUs, they usually now have 6 cores already.
Yeah. So it's becoming better, and DX12 will help to support that as well. Make better use of all the resources. So
it might be measurable but not noticeable. So
probably no.
Yeah. I agree. Go with 1000 hertz.
Just leave it on that. I mean, again, you can play around with it. Maybe for you, there can always be a placebo effect where one. I've had this with people with playing competitive games like Counter-Strike, and some people will just put it in the lowest possible resolution. Because for them that means that the pixels on their screen are bigger, so they have a bigger chance of hitting or whatever. It's a placebo effect. But if it works for them, it works for them. So yeah, I mean
You mean the resolution of the screen, right? Not
yes.
the mouse.
Sorry. So the resolution of the screen. So it's whatever floats your boat, and so it's one of the things you can change. Again,
a lot of preference.
Yeah, we'll put it on that, and you can change the DPI level. So here's you can see there's 5 pre-programmed levels of DPI, and that's of course with the middle mouse button, which you can see right there. Oh, is that the one you can? That's one of the mouse. That's actually the only mouse button you can't reprogram apparently, but that's fine. But it's the middle mouse button here, just under the scroll wheel. That's the DPI button. So then you can really quickly scroll through. As you can see, I'm clicking it now, and you can see that the level is going up. Now I'm just doing some movements. It's the highest setting. This is the lowest one, so it'll just cycle through it with every click.
And you can change all the intervals.
Exactly. You can change the interval. So if you have a specific interval, because as you can see here now, from level 3 onwards, the jumps are pretty big. But if you want somewhere in between for level 4, for example, you can just say, well, I want this to be 4000. I don't know, and then you apply that, and then from that point on. If you get to 4, it's 4000 and no longer, what was the other one, was 3100 or something? I guess it was
CJ Bill is asking, game is set to generation 0 on Twitch. Will you be playing any today? Is it set to generation 0? I have no idea actually.
I don't remember.
Shouldn't be, but...
Yeah, I don't remember putting that on.
I don't know if I can see it here. Yeah, it's set to generation 0 actually.
All right.
Shall I update this?
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm sorry to disappoint you if you were expecting that, but no, we're maybe some, I don't know.
What are you going to play?
I was thinking maybe some CSGO to
CSGO?
Display some of this stuff in the game as well.
Let me update this.
Also because Counter-Strike is one of those games where it's it's been around for so long and there are a lot of options there, both for mice customization and sound as well, which we'll get to after this. So yeah, now I feel like testing these models. See,
you should.
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
And also let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Like in what kind of direction would you prefer us to go in terms of peripherals?
Yeah, but also, what's important for you? How do you base your choice of peripherals? Because again, I only have my own experience, and of course I know I get some data from other people here, and then we do some research. But I always like getting the raw input from people, random people even. Just tell me what you like, because those often give me the most surprising results that I didn't consider yet, that I just didn't think about.
Yeah.
So let us know, what you base your choices on most of the time, and how you come to the conclusion that okay, so I'm going to buy this mouse. Is it price based? Is it specs based? Do you go out and actually try a bunch of mice? Do you ask friends? Do you check Reddit? Whatever. There's a hell of a lot of things that you can do. Do you check?
Still saying for mice, more thumb buttons. Yeah, I wrote that one down. Yeah.
Noted. Thank you. No, but I mean, yeah. So I mean, yeah. Is it more RGB? Is it, yeah?
Daniel's asking what's the sensor. It's the PixArt PAW3327.
Yeah.
Mr. Masdock saying the hardest thing to demonstrate are headphones. We can't hear them. We can really see. Yeah. It's hard to demonstrate indeed. But it's the same for mice. You can see them, but you cannot feel them.
We can show it to you, but it's, again, it might be different in your hands. And for me, the weight might be just right, and the shape, and for you, it might be completely.
That's the complicated thing about all kinds of gaming gear.
Yeah.
So we can tell you about them, but we cannot tell you if you will like them or not.
No, I mean, that's down to you. I mean, we can only tell you the thought behind it and the features and why we did what we did with these products. And why they are, good or bad, or something you should consider or not. But then ultimately, of course, it's down to you, and if you find it good or not. And if you have feedback, again, we've been doing these kinds of products just only for a few years now. We're still a relatively new player on this market, so we're not going to be so arrogant as to say, this is the perfect product and that's it. And no.
In gaming gear, there is no such thing.
It doesn't
as a perfect
exist.
Product.
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of people.
Might be perfect for you, but
yeah,
someone else might hate it.
True. So your input is also always greatly appreciated and can be quite useful in trying to figure out what to do next and how to get into another direction, or even the right direction if we're not there. Well, we always see that Miguel is a big fan of the mouse. He says it's amazing. That's nice. Good to hear. All right, so I think that pretty much covers the mouse. We will come back to it when we play some games later. So we'll play a little bit of games as well. So yeah, I mean, for the packaging, it's quite nice. Also, we try at least to give it some. You can actually, if you're in the shop and you see this lying around, you can actually try the shape like this. There's a try me, little text there, try me as well.
Now we can show it up close.
Yeah, there you go. It's actually quite forceful. It kind of commands you to do it. Try me!
Now!
Exactly. No, it doesn't say that yet. But that's a good idea.
For the next box.
Exactly, that's a good idea. Maybe we can be more authoritarian about it. I don't know.
Respect my authority.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for the mouse. It has, by the way, also a nice 2-meter long cable, so that should be plenty for most people. I think it's quite standard as well.
Yeah. Suryana's asking left-handed support, sir. Yeah, you can use it left-handed, but there are only buttons on the left side, so they are meant to use with the thumb of your right hand. So if you use it left-handed, you will not have any thumb buttons that you can control with your thumb, only with your pinky maybe.
Yeah.
But
so who knows? Who knows? I mean, if you're okay with that, then or if you don't even use those side buttons, then
then yes, definitely you can use it left-handed as well.
All right. So let's jump quickly to our next product, which is the GH50, the Immerse GH50. So this is our latest headset. A couple of weeks, maybe 2 months ago or something, we also launched another headset. Maybe you have it here, right?
I actually have it right here.
We can compare them a little bit. So this one,
here we have it. The GH30. This is
exactly. This is the GH50. There are some similarities. As you can see, there are, in terms of design, it has some similarities where, in terms of shape and touch and feel, we're trying to do that as well. Especially also the microphone is actually not connected here right now, but it has, I think, pretty much the same detachable microphone as well. As you can see, just plug it out like that. Yeah, and it's 3.5mm audio jack.
No, it's not. It's exactly the same.
Ah, okay. Wow.
There is a slight difference.
It does look very similar.
It's very similar, but it's not the same.
But that just goes to show, what I was saying also is that we're trying to, create a unified look and feel, like an identity, I guess. It's a USB headset, which is shown quite easily by the fact that it has LED in the side as well, because that needs power, obviously.
Yeah, that's not something you can do over analog plugs. So
no.
3.5mm jacks will not provide power to power LED lighting on that.
And another advantage or another thing that this USB headset has is a nice inline controller, which
Baltic
also...
Seal is already putting some spoilers in the chat.
Yeah. It is actually 7.1. Well, virtual 7.1. We have to be correct about it. It's not. It doesn't have, like, I don't know,
8 speakers
per side. Indeed, that's I don't know if you want to do that, especially because that would increase the price a hell of a lot. So this way,
and also you would have to make the speakers a lot smaller, which will actually cost you in bass performance, stuff like that.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, smaller speakers will usually perform a little bit less well in terms of sound quality.
Yeah.
So you would also be having to get, is it wind resistant? What? I guess. It's closed back, so yeah, there's no, it's not an open design, the ear cups.
Did you go to the office by bike today?
Yes.
So try it out on your way home. Just wear it, then you know if it's wind resistant.
I think I wouldn't really feel much wind because it's quite close. These are fluffy, fluffy ear cushions as well. So I think they close off quite well. Also, I've tried it here in the office, and in terms of sound isolation, it also works quite well, for me at least. And also the fact that the ear cups can swivel a bit like this means there's a better chance it will actually fit to your head and close off with around your ear better than other headsets. So yeah, and of course you can make it bigger or smaller depending on your head size with some nice. It's got a metal band basically inside there, and on the inside there's this nice cushioning, also quite soft, quite deep. I don't know if you guys can see this. So it actually has a lot of. It gives a lot of support and it feels quite soft.
I already see an interesting discussion in chat about virtual surround, and people also talking about that you have 2 ears. And the interesting thing is that actually with a headphone, you can perceive surround better than with actual surround speakers, even though you have more speakers.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about this later more.
Exactly, because you only have 2 ears.
Yeah.
And so we actually dove into this for
quite
a little
deep,
bit in the past couple of days as well, trying to prepare for this stream and make sure that we know a lot about it. And we discovered that there was a lot of stuff we didn't know yet, and it was very interesting to learn about it though. And there's a lot to it, but it's not like there's a clear
winner
one way or the other. It surprisingly enough, well, theoretically there is, of course, but that's on paper. And it doesn't tell the whole story. So again, when we went to ask people for their actual opinions when they tried it, you still got, they were all over the spectrum. One person likes the pure stereo and the other person likes the full spatial 3D sound surround and another like 7.1 better. It's, you know, whatever floats your boat and what serves you the best, what you enjoy most, that's the thing for you. Yeah, the removable mic is nice for streamers, that's true.
Fasant is saying, I'm a jellyfish, I don't have ears. Then this is not the product for you.
No.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's that. Well, maybe this is because...
Oh, Wong is saying not the headphone, it's a microphone wind resistant.
Oh, okay. That's a good question, actually. I don't know. It's unidirectional.
Yeah.
Not omnidirectional.
I didn't hear you breathe when talking to you, so I think it should be fine.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's okay. As in, you know, of course you shouldn't put it near your mouth like this and then talk like this, because you always have these, you know, window licking idiots doing that in micro.
Yeah, don't eat your microphone.
No, that's not ASMR, by the way. That's creepy as hell.
I think personally, ASMR is creepy as hell.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, some people
also preference based. Some
people
like
get tingles, others get cringes.
Yeah,
there's a thin line apparently. Right?
I'm not a fan.
No. Anyway, but I mean, even for jellyfish, this could work because this one has a little toggle right here, which actually enables a vibration system inside the ear cups, which is tied to kind of like a bass boost. So it will do two things. It will enable a vibration system in each one of the ear cups, and it will augment the bass more. So you will get more punchy bass. And because of the vibration in it, I mean, in normal circumstances like explosions and stuff, you can feel it maybe a little bit, but it's not that noticeable, I have to say. I tried it a long time, and actually at the beginning I thought, really, does it vibrate? I didn't really notice it until I actually, you know, touched the sides with my hands, and then I could feel it a little, you know, vibrating a little bit when there's a lot of bass. But because of also the cushioning of the ear cushions, of course, you don't get the direct sensation that, oh, holy crap, this is like holding my phone on vibrate, you know, to my ear. It's not the same thing. It's very subtle.
It's not like a purple Tarzan?
No, whatever that is. You probably know that better than me. Exactly, but I mean, it's, you know, it's because also a lot of people say it's a gimmick. Yeah, maybe, but it does add a little bit to it, and it might not be to everybody's liking. I kind of enjoyed it in some settings, especially when, you know, like movies and games where it's like more like explosions. When there's music, I'm more of a purist, as in, you know, I don't like all the added effects and boosted bass or stuff like that. That's not for me. But some people, I also know some people like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just adding something, another dimension a little bit to your experience.
And if you don't like it, there is a switch.
Exactly, that's the thing. So you can just as easy as this. That's
and
off.
It's off. Yeah.
And that's on.
It's also something, just try it out, see if you like it. If you don't, switch it off.
Exactly, yeah. The thing also to remember about USB headsets like this one is it has a built-in sound card into the inline remote. So also a lot of stuff you do on your PC, you know, normally with your, what is it, Steam Media sound card and stuff. Realtek, yeah. There's usually in your PC, in your motherboard or your laptop, whatever, it will have an internal sound card. And you can do a lot of fine-tuning on that. It will do nothing for a USB headset like this. So it's all about the sound card in the USB headset itself that will do all the heavy lifting, all the stuff. So 7.1 surround, by the way, is also really easy to enable. There's a little toggle. There are two here. I want to keep it connected because I don't know what it will do to the sound.
I can get this closer too.
Exactly. So as you can see, let's see if we can get it to
focus a little.
Focus on it. Focus! You must focus. Come on. It's not focusing, is it?
Maybe a little bit further away. Slightly.
Further away? Well, anyway, I think you guys can see that right here. It says 7.1, right? Can you see that?
Yeah, I think it's
somewhat visible. On here, it's a little microphone. So just by pressing this button, now the microphone is muted, and now it's on again. Oh, here we go. Wow, that's sharp. 7.1 on and off. As easy as that. So also if you want to switch it on or off, it's really easy to do. And then on the side, it's on this side actually, here you have a little rocker or wheel I guess. to turn up or down the sound volume. So that's basically all you need in a little remote there. So that's quite cool. Good question, Aditya. Can it be used on Xbox or PlayStation? I don't think it's officially supported, so it might work. It's like with our. Can you switch back to me?
Yep.
It's like with our controllers. I don't know if you know the GC30 and GC20. On a lot of these consoles, it will work, but it's not officially licensed and stuff. This is because our primary audience is the PC gamers, so that's we want to focus on that. We don't want to spend resources and too much time targeting other groups just yet. Also because I mean, again, we only started a couple of years ago with these products, so it's not like the volume is that big that we have millions to throw around just for this. So we first want to see where we go with this, and maybe in the future we will get the official certification, because those cost money. If you don't know about it, it's basically, I mean, yes, you go through a whole process of verifying that it works, but you have to pay to be able to put the logo on the box, and they don't ask for small sums of money. These are big chunks. So yeah, I mean, it's always a trade-off. Like, is it worth it? Yes, no. At the moment, we've decided to not go for that yet. Again, it might work. There's no reason to not try it, and a lot of the times it might just work because it uses a lot of the same standard drivers and encoding and stuff like that. So there's a big chance it will work. But yeah. High resolution certified? That's a good question. I don't think so, no, because usually we had two headsets, which were the GH70 and 60, which were indeed high resolution certified. These ones are
no, it's only 70
not.
Because it's USB.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. Anyway, so no, these ones are not. I missed hearing the price of the headset. No, you didn't. Actually, we didn't tell you. Also because it differs per country, so you really have to check. I think, and I could be wrong here, but it should be around, like, what was it, 60-ish, $60-70 MSRP. So depending on your country, it can be a bit more,
depending
can be a
on
bit
the
less.
store, it can be a little bit more, a little bit less.
Yeah.
Mohammed is asking GH50 or DS502, any one better? Yeah, that's also based on preference.
Yeah.
I
like the GH50. I mean, the DS502 was definitely not a bad headset, and a lot of people, if you read about it online as well,
it's one of our earlier models.
Exactly, yeah, and a lot of people liked it as well. It was a pretty good headset. I think for me personally, the GH50, I like this one better. And I also saw some earlier in the chat somebody asking how would you compare it against the GH70? Well. It is similar, I guess. If you and they were saying if you ignore all the stuff like RGB and stuff, but just the sound quality, I would say similar, but it's different because it's a different headset with a different shape, different drivers.
It sounds slightly different. So,
but it's not. It's similar as in it's not specifically like much better or much worse or something like that. It's in its own way. It's comparable in terms of how I enjoyed it. Let's put it that way. But that's down to my experience. So again, I would really advise you to go and try it.
They're two pretty different shapes as well. So the GH50 and the GH30, like we have here, they've got kind of a similar shape, and one is analog, one is digital. Yeah. Same goes for GH60 and GH70. Yeah. 60 is like the analog version of the 70 digital USB. Yeah. So it's based on preference. Yeah. Some will find these more comfortable, some will find the other ones more comfortable. Yeah. So and then sound quality as well. And also, I mean, don't forget, especially with 3.5mm headsets, it's not just the headset at work. If you just connect them and listen to the same music on your phone and your PC or your dedicated DAC, an audio DAC device, they will sound different for each one. Yeah. So it also there's a lot, and even if you compare it to the different types of music, and if you have like high resolution music, or what was that audio format, FLAC, like lossless, which are huge audio files, but they have so much detail in them, or if you have like a very compressed MP3 file,
Yeah, FLUX still compressed though. It's like lossless compression. You have like if you have the raw files, they're even bigger.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, I think the FLAC, didn't it stand for lossless?
Yeah, lossless compression.
Yeah, okay. So it's
so it's still somewhat smaller than
true.
Like WAV files are not.
But still, they're quite big and
it's bigger than MP3.
But also there, so there's a lot of things that are worth considering if you are shopping for a headset and thinking about it. Because if you're just trying them on your phone, it could be that your phone is really influencing the quality of some of these. That's why on a lot of motherboards we have dedicated amplifiers on the motherboard itself. That's part of Audio Boost, where we want to make sure that you get the best sound possible. Because if you don't have those, and a lot of phones, for example, don't have dedicated amplifiers because there's just no space. Basically, you need space to do that. Then sometimes the sound can be a bit meh, it can be a bit lackluster and it just sounds like ordinary. Well, even with some really great headphones, and impedance can be one of the big factors there as well, especially on the higher end spectrum.
And it's very old school, but for example, if you play music from a CD in your computer, you'll get higher quality sound than when you stream through one of the many streaming services, for example. That use compression with a lower bit rate, so that will all come into play as well.
So just make sure that you. That's also one of the things I wanted to say is that when you go out and shop for headphones, firstly I really want to ask you guys, what are the things that you pay attention to, and how do you make your choice? Again, this for us can be eye-opening maybe, but also. Don't just go for specs or something like that. Of course, price is important. You have a budget probably, and you don't want to spend too much on it if you don't have the money. And a lot of people will say, especially those hi-fi audio people, they will just say, if it's under $200, it
must be bad.
It's bad by definition. Maybe for them, but for you. One of the cheapest headphones that might just happen to give you the best experience.
Also depends on what you do.
Might be the best experience for you. And it also depends indeed, do you want, where do you use them? Are you planning to use them only on your PC? If you have a USB headphone or a headset like a GH50, if you want to use it on your mobile phone, forget about it. It's not going to happen. So you're pretty much bound to using it on a laptop or PC or other stationary devices pretty much. If you want to use them on your headphone, you're probably better off having something with a 3.5mm jack. If your phone even still has a 3.5mm jack, because some of them don't have them these days. Then you still have USB Type-C to 3.5mm jack plugs or converters indeed, or you have to go Bluetooth or something like that. So. Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider. Also, if you want to use it on the move, or if you go to a lot of LAN parties and stuff like that, some of these headsets have a really handy system of making them a bit smaller for you to carry them. I mean, the GH50 actually has the same thing. So
same mechanism.
You can actually fold it up just like that, and now it's a small
And
package.
like the GH30, the GH50 also comes with a small bag, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we do recommend to take the mic off before you put it in there, but here you go. So there's a little carrying bag, quite a nice. It's not like a cheap fabric. It's actually quite thick and tough,
sturdy,
sturdy fabric. So you can just put it in there, like so, and then it makes it easy to take it with you. So if you go, for example, if you want to take it with you to school or whatever, or wherever you want to go, but it is still a USB headset. So make sure it's probably not going to work on your phone or your mobile devices, so it's not really ideal for mobile usage.
I have to interrupt you shortly, because do you know what time it is?
Is it giveaway time?
Exactly, time for another winner. So if you haven't participated in the giveaway yet, go to msi.com/2/insider and participate in our Gleam giveaway. I will also provide you with a direct link in the chat. And then let's go to our next winner.
Let's draw one.
The moment of truth.
And
it's thinking.
By the way, I saw somebody asking how we choose our winners. It's actually a script that does it completely randomly. So it randomizes a winner there. And then, so yeah, basically we have no say in it, we have no hand in it. There are literally hundreds of entries and people taking part.
And our next winner is?
I think I know this guy. As in, I've seen this name before.
Jake the Peg.
Jake the Peg.
Congratulations. You won our second $20 Steam wallet code. We will email it to you in the coming days.
Yep.
If you didn't win, you don't have to feel bad yet. We will have more winners throughout the stream.
Exactly. All right. So let's put the microphone back on it there. Yeah, let's see. All right, so there are, maybe I can show, there's also like a really neat explodey type view of the headset I've got here. So as you can see, some of the stuff here, there are two in each ear cup, one 40mm neodymium drivers, which, I mean, it's I guess kind of standard these days for both the size and the fact that they're neodymium. And here you can see there's the vibration system around it basically. So it's actually located near the driver itself, inside the ear cup. And then all the rest of the stuff, you know, clicked in the end together, and then you get the nice headset. And about surround, so this is basically what it will do, you know. Normally you would have two channels, and you still have two channels because you only have two ears. But because of the way that this works, it will try to, you know, it's directional sound, I think they call it, you know, where you, especially in a lot of games, competitive games specifically, it's important to know or to try and discern where you're being shot from, where people are walking, you know, games like CSGO, games like PUBG. It's become, I think, one of the things that a lot of people are looking for in the internet. I've seen a lot of people asking about it, like, how can I, you know, what's the best way to do this? How can I make sure I can hear people before I can see them or something, you know, because they always get the feeling that they're missing out or they don't have the right settings for it. So a lot of it comes down to, one, having a good headset. I think the general rule of thumb is that I saw everywhere, and also I got from my own testing, is usually a better headset, as in better quality, good quality drivers, all of that, will give you better results. But positional audio, you know, just, you know, is something that will not only do stereo, but also try to add, you know, more of a 3D position in the signals and in the sound that it's giving you, will also make a big difference. But also here, I saw a lot of people have conflicting opinions, and so it's funny that, you know, there's no clear winner, as in, you know, this is better than that and this is the best option. Not really.
And even per person, it differs from what you're doing, because in games I like positional audio better.
Yeah.
For music, I always prefer to listen in stereo.
Normal stereo.
Yeah, because that's how
it was
the producer made it. Yeah, exactly.
So it's it's very subjective, I would say. And it's down to your opinion. What do you like best? What do you use it for? If you only use it for gaming, for example, then you might not care that much about, you know, the warm sounds and the right display of the music and of the tones and
maybe not
detail.
how accurate it is, but more about how immersive it is. So, for example, explosions, stuff like that.
Or you know, directional. Because if you're more of a competitive gamer and you care more about that, then it's probably more important to you how accurate it can display in sound, of course, where your enemies are. Stuff like that. So it's really, again, something you have to think about, and think about what do you use it for more. If you use it more for sound, then there should be, or for music also, should be more of a balance. Yeah, a lot of things to think about there. Yeah. Should we go into the whole surround sound and spatial sound and stuff like that?
We can touch on it maybe a little bit.
We can touch about it a little bit, but let's not do it too long, because it's
very
a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole.
Exactly.
Because there are a lot of things. I mean, so you have stereo, which obviously is two sound sources. That's
Left,
the easiest
right,
one.
that's it.
Yeah. And then you start with surround sound. Surround sound comes in a number of flavors. So the most common are 5.1 and 7.1. Obviously, those names relate to 5.1 is basically 5 surround channels and traditionally one subwoofer. That's the 0.1. 7.1, same, 7 different points around you, 1 subwoofer or 1 center. So that's the basis of it. However, at least at the beginning, those were still all divided in separate channels. So the sound could pretty much only come from one of those channels.
So that's like what you, for example, have when you have a surround set at home for movies.
With the speakers.
Yeah, with the speakers, you have like fixed positions where your speakers are, and the people who make the movie, they decide what sounds come from where, and to create an immersive experience there.
And that's the whole thing, in a movie, it's like you define it once and then that's it. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
In a game, it's constantly changing. It's dynamic. It has to change with whatever movements you're making, where you're watching, where you're walking, what's happening around you.
Yeah, you're pretty much deciding what sound comes from where.
Exactly.
In the direction where you're looking, stuff like that.
So it can't be sculpted or something. It can't be like designed like it is in movies. It works totally differently. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But also, it's still like it's only on a horizontal plane. Most of the time, the 7.1 or 5.1 surround sound, it's like around you, but it's not really like above you or something. It's not 3D in that way, or below indeed. So it only covers the spectrum around you. So for total immersion, obviously you also want around you. And now you see there's standards like DTS and Dolby, I think, are quite active on this part. They're also doing like top firing speakers and stuff like that. So the sound will actually be like completely around you, and that does add a lot to the immersion.
It's also what you get when you go to movie theater, for example. You get the more advanced surround systems, and they also have. For example, on the ceiling, they will have speakers. Yeah. Also behind the screen, usually.
Yes. Yeah. True.
Which is also pretty intense.
Yeah, it can be indeed. But for you at home, what does that mean? Because we're talking about gaming headsets, and it's not like you have a home cinema setup. Well, at least most of you probably, I'm guessing, don't have that. Comparable to your local cinema or one in a big city.
Some do. Some real enthusiasts.
Some lucky bastards do indeed, or people who just spend the time and money on it. True. But yeah, I mean, for most people that's not realistic. So they will have to make do with.
It's also
headphones.
not very convenient.
No, true. And also
you're going to a LAN party, dragging your surround set with you.
Yeah, that, or when
neighbors.
when you have neighbors or other people. I don't know, a girlfriend, a wife, family, kids. And you have to stay quiet sometimes, or at least not inconvenience them. Anyway, you have the headsets. So what do they have for headsets? Well, for headsets you have also what they call true 5.1 and 7.1, which means that they actually have
speakers, many speakers.
8 or 6 speakers in each ear cup, which is, needless to say, crammed in there. It's really expensive, and it usually doesn't really benefit the sound quality, because each of the drivers that are in there, each of the little speakers, are quite small, obviously, or else it doesn't fit. So, yeah, that is an option. And it's usually marketed as in, this is the only true 7.1 experience in a headset, and technically they're correct. But I mean, you go try them for yourself and see if you are convinced or not. I've seen tests where people, try to do directional audio blindfolded, and they use a bunch of different headsets, and strikingly enough, the true 7.1 surround set that was in there would actually finish last, as in had the worst result. So that means that just by listening to something, just by going blindly from the audio, they were not able to determine which direction the sound came from. Yeah, that's just something to consider. But again, if it works for you, it works for you. So I also don't want to knock it completely, but it is quite expensive. And there, of course, there's the virtual 5.1 and 7.1 surround, which this one has the virtual 7.1 surround, which, as Mr. Masterdox is already saying as well, is this one has 2 drivers, and that drivers is basically the same as speakers, so 2 speakers.
But that matches with how many ears you have.
Exactly. And the direction is emulated by shifts in the sound themselves. So they try to throw the sound around in a direction by making one speaker do that basically per ear.
What they actually do is they trick your brain, because your brain is pretty much processing all the time where the sound comes from.
It's programming because you have 2 ears. You have your what are these called in English as well? I don't know. Anyway, part of your ears, the outside of your ears, and of course sound.
I was not very good at biology, but
no, exactly. I mean, sound comes in and it bounces and it has a different effect basically. If you didn't have these little flaps around your ears here, sound would sound completely different. Anyway, so if a sound comes from this side, from Mike's side, it will reach this ear first, and it will reach this ear after that, and it will be a bit softer because there is something, my head namely, in the way. So based on that information, of course, my brain will then interpret, okay, so the sound was most loud and direct on this side, and it was a little bit different on this side and a little bit later, so that must mean that he will be on this side. He should be on that side of me. So that's one of the very simple explanation. Of course, there might be a lot more to it, but very simple explanation of how your brain, is trying to figure out where sound coming from. But that does mean, if you understand that you can trick your brain indeed. So if, for example, in one ear cup, in this ear cup, for example, the sound will be a little bit faster to arrive, basically, and just like a millisecond or something later in this one, that might be enough for my brain to trick my brain into thinking there's something to my direct left. There's something on this side. And so that's the kind of thing they're doing.
And that goes pretty far nowadays.
That goes pretty freaking far, yeah.
They're damn good nowadays, especially in games where you have, for example, positional audio.
Yes.
They're really good at emulating how they should trick your brain in thinking that it must be on that side.
It's a science, and
exactly.
I mean they made it a science, and I mean the longer this goes on, basically, I mean now you have also both DTS. These are the two big brands, I guess, in the cinema business as well, with regards to sound and especially surround sound. DTS and Dolby, and they've also started making this for headphones. So you got DTS headphones X and Dolby Atmos, which is also even on phones these days, but also on headphones. And these are all ways for them to try and get into this business of, okay, so how can we use our experience, their years of experience, and they've got massive amounts of data that they've gathered, and a lot of research gone into this. And so then they try to apply it for specific product groups. And that actually makes a difference. I mean, I've tried some of these. So, this headset, for example, has a built-in 7.1. So something like Dolby Atmos, for example, doesn't really do much for this because it uses the sound card here. But for example, you can, if you're using a 3.5mm jack headphone like this, like the GH30, or earbuds, for example, you can actually do that. And there's actually a function since the Creator Update, I think, in Windows that actually supports this as well, which is free, which is called Windows Sonic, which a lot of you probably don't know about this. I also didn't know about it until quite recently, and I tried it. I mean, it doesn't really make things prettier, as in it doesn't really make this do the sound any favors, as in in terms of music,
quality,
for example.
Yeah.
But in terms of positional audio, for example, it can make a big difference. But it also depends on the content you're listening to or the game you're playing, if it supports positional audio, yes or no. It also depends on the speaker quality of your headphones or your earbuds or whatever. If they're not that good, then it probably won't do that much for it. But there's a hell of a lot of things you can try and play around with to just find out what is the preferred option for you.
And that's also something very interesting when you have like 7.1 surround.
Yeah.
The fixed positions,
yes,
you always have a gap in between them.
Yeah.
So you don't have any information of the positions in between. With the spatial audio, you really have it all around. So you also get the details, what's in between those channels, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they try to emulate and fill those gaps, yeah. And it's also
the game supports it, because this is not supported by all games. That's very important to mention, because some games still work with those channels, so they will only have information from certain directions. Where with positional audio, you really have all the information, and it can directly
emulate it to two speakers pretty much,
Yeah.
which gives you the best result in terms of positional audio.
Yeah, exactly. I see a lot of questions about some stuff, if you can change stuff in the software as well, and how you can change it. So maybe let's switch to the software and show you guys what you can do there. So also here you have the gaming gear option, and here you see the headset, which is of course the GH50. Now in sound, indeed you have a couple of things. You have sound options, so these are like voice left, right. So these are very simple sound options that you can change. Wait, why did it go away? Should not have clicked that apparently. All right, let's try that again.
Everyone is saying MSI Twist does not work. The link is. We'll check that out. We'll see if we can solve that for next week. It's also a wireless solution. Now these both use a wire. This one, the GH30, has a wire with an analog plug, and the GH50 has a USB connector with a built-in sound card.
But anyway, so here you have a couple of things like the sample rate. You can change that on the headset. Render bit depth. So all
so
stuff
you can add more detail.
Exactly. Well, I mean, again, if it's supported. I also read a lot of
I think most
things online.
Games are limited to 44.1 kilohertz.
It could be, yeah. But I also heard that a lot of times, a lot of people are experiencing issues with Windows 10 if they try to push it above 48 kilohertz. A lot of people are reporting that actually Windows is causing issues or bugging out. I don't know. But you also have, of course, your equalizer. So there you have a lot of presets. Obviously, you can enable it. Maybe not. Something's going wrong. I'm using I think I got a test version of the software, so there seems to be some small bugs in there still. Anyway, but there's a lot of stuff you can change there. You can edit. So you can completely make it to your liking. And that's, I think, important. And I also wanted to show, here we go. There's some, this is integrated into the headset, the Gear effect. So this is really a software that's linked to the sound card basically. And it enables you to, basically choose some profiles. So surround, audio brilliant makes it a little bit more crisp, the sound, dynamic bass, which obviously boosts the bass a bit. Smart volume, voice clarity, if you just want to make sure that you can have best
communication
the
with
exactly, the best communication like Skype calls or whatever. And surround max. So these are all settings that will give you different sound effects. You can enable the surround here. They have a music mode or a movie mode. Even there are even some presets for room size. Like this is obviously simulated room sizes. So if you want like a small sound stage or a big one.
So again, they're tricking your brain in perceiving like you're in a smaller room or a bigger room.
Exactly.
And dependent on your preference, you can change that.
Yeah. And of course, the microphone. You also have some things you can change here because. For the microphone, it's also quite dependent on sometimes on the quality you want and which you like, if you like the deeper voices or not. And also here you have some Xerox effects. So this is quite funny. You have a voice changer, basically. They call it magic voice, but you can sound like a monster or a cartoon character. Or you could make me sound like a man. I don't know.
I don't think it's capable of that.
or a woman. So yeah. Anyway, so it's a nice. These are nice little extras that you can play around with. Obviously, it's nearly Halloween, so you can do the monster one.
Pretty cool.
And of course, then in Mystic Light, it also detects all the products. So here's the headset that we have. So you can just change to different effects: a steady, color cycle. Breathing effect. It will also react to the beat if you select this one. So if you're listening to music and you want it to just
respond to the music.
Respond to the music, indeed. You can just do that. Default, it's I think a color
cycle,
loop that it will just loop through all the colors. It's animating it right here, so it's basically you see what you get. And of course you can link it with other stuff on your what is Mystic Light compatible. So you can do all of that kind of stuff. So that's quite cool.
On top, you can link them with the other products.
Yeah.
So now we have
like
a keyboard connected as well.
Yeah. So it's all linked together now. And then you can make sure it all does the same thing.
And also a cool feature, ambient link. There you can actually connect it to your Philips Hue or Nanoleaf products as well, if you own any.
So you can see it, at the moment it's both Nanoleaf and Philips Hue. We had a stream about this, right?
So
I think it was called RGB All the Things.
Yeah, if you search for MSI RGB All the Things on YouTube, you'll definitely find it. We did a dedicated live stream about Mystic Light and ambient link, where we also demonstrated this new feature. And this also responds to games. So, for example, we played some Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
It's right here,
and it will not only color where you're going. So, for example, if you jump into the sea, it turns blue. But it will also respond to certain actions events. In the game. So, if the enemy spots you, it will start flashing red and stuff like that.
Or if you're hurt, you know, something like that. So it's really cool. It really adds to the immersion. You know, in your room, we were playing it here, and it was just like.
Yeah, there were lights everywhere.
It's really cool. I didn't really think about it before, but once you, it's something you have to experience, because you can see it and you can think, well, it looks cool, but if you really, you know, it just sucks you into the game even more.
We put as much RGB into the PC as we could find. We had all RGB peripherals. We had the Philips Hue. We had the Nanoleaf. So RGB everywhere.
Yeah, that's really cool indeed. Edwin is asking if you can change the sound settings per game. Yeah, you can do that, but I think you have to. I don't think there's like settings you can preset. Maybe there is. Wait, let me just have a look for you. Headset, sound. No, there's not like.
I don't think you can put up game profiles.
No. Well, I mean, you could do it, but you would have to go in here and then change it for each game. So it depends. But it's not linked. But I think, you know, this may be an interesting suggestion as well, what you're saying, you know, that you can predefine sound profiles for per game maybe. Or, you know, if you're, now I want to listen to music, so you want to do that. Or, you know, different games require different kinds of sound. Like COD is probably, you know, you want to have really good positional audio, but you might not care that much about, you know, making it sound pretty. Whereas other games, you just want to enjoy the ambiance a lot more, you know.
What I would personally use is, for example, if I would start a game, then I would enable the surround sound on the inline control. When I'm going back to Windows to listen to some music, I would switch it off.
Yeah.
So that's also an easy way to toggle in between.
True. All right. Let's maybe show some stuff in the game. How about we do that?
Yeah, it's a gaming headset and it's a gaming mouse, so maybe that's a good idea.
Kind of have to do it, right?
Yeah.
It would be stupid not to. All right, so I think it's best to show some stuff in a game like CS:GO, because again, it has a lot of options and a lot of things we can show basically. Also, I think it's been mentioned before by some of you, but indeed, you know, it's very hard for us to show to let you experience this sound quality, because I can change stuff in the game on the PC that I have here, but that doesn't mean that you watching the stream will hear a difference. So I'm just going to show it to you. I'm not going to pretend that I'm letting you hear the difference, because I don't think that's possible from where I'm sitting. So what I'll just show you. And I hope you guys can still hear me. I hope the sound's not too loud. Just let me know if there's anything bad about it or if it's too loud. So you have audio options obviously in the menu. And here you can already see audio output configuration. Here you have some options. So you have stereo headphones, which obviously most headphones are, because they have two speakers. But you also have, they've got a specific profile for speakers. And this is what we're saying when in some games, you have to be careful if you want to do like 7.1 or 5.1. If the game doesn't support it, if they don't have a profile like this for it, it's probably not going to work well. You know, it's going to guess or guesstimate or whatever to try and see where the sound should be coming from.
Yeah, because the headset doesn't have any directional information
from the game.
From the game itself. Yeah.
Because usually, you know, with a profile like this means that the game will actually send data to the sound card. That's basically saying this sound should be coming from that direction. So
with 5.1, it will send out 6 different channels instead of only 2.
Exactly. I mean, maybe you've seen in the past there were some sound radars or something. You know, there was a little thing you could put in a game. I think one of our programs that we bundle with our motherboards, for example, Nehemic, also did this for a while. It was considered cheating after a while, and I can kind of get why. But it was very interesting for the reason that the way it worked is that it didn't just listen to the sound and then try to work out, okay, so where is this coming from, and then visually display it on a radar thing, like, okay, it's like behind you to the left or to the right. It was actually using data from the game itself that was telling it this sound is coming from this side, and maybe it can even go as far as to say it's about this far, because sound can be softer or louder depending on how far away from you it should be, right? So, this kind of data then could all be, this application could read this data and then provide you like a visual input of the sound scape and how the sound is being perceived. So
in that sense, you can see it as cheating because it will always be a perfect interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of
you having to use your ears and trying to and having to interpret it. Yeah. So, but I mean, the point here is that these applications very clearly prove that a lot of these games actually had data in the game that was telling the sound system in these profiles, at least, where the sound should be coming from, and the directional sound and how it should be thrown around, basically. So that's why it's important. If a game doesn't really have this kind of surround sound profiles, it's probably a sign that you are not going to have a good surround sound experience if you enable it. If you enable it on your headphones or on any other device that might be capable of it.
Edwin is asking, which sound card are you using? That's actually the sound card that's integrated into this headset.
Yes.
So it's you connect it via USB, and the headset is integrated into the cable, actually.
Yes, into the inline controller. That's actually where the little piece of PCB and the chip is located.
So you don't even need a sound card on your motherboard to use. Well, all motherboards nowadays have a sound card.
Yeah.
But you don't actually use that sound card if you connect this headset.
Yeah. Yeah, and even, drivers, you don't really have to install drivers because they're pretty much, as soon as you plug it in, it's Windows certified and stuff like that, so the drivers will be automatically...
It's plug and play, but of course you can install software to get more options.
Yeah. But it's a valid question, it's a good question. But so as you can see, so there's a lot to choose from. Speakers, quad surround sound, 5.1. So even for 7.1, 5.1 surround is good. It's compatible, so it will translate into 7.1 as good as it can as well. And here you have the audio device. So basically, we have a bunch of stuff connected here, obviously. At the moment, we are connecting, or it's connected to the speakers, which means that basically this is connected to you, to the stream, and we are mirroring it.
So you can hear the audio?
Exactly.
If we would select the headset here, then you wouldn't hear it.
Exactly. We are mirroring the sound to the headset so that I can actually hear it as well. But there's some trickery there involved to get that to work, I have to tell you. And then this one is really important. In CSGO, it's called Advanced 3D Audio Processing. There are a couple of names, and it's a little bit different, but there is HRTF, which is Head Related Transfer Function.
Exactly.
There you go. This took a while to remember for me. Just before the stream, I was asking, I was like, I know it's HRTF, I just don't know what it stands for anymore, and he just blurted it out, and now I know as well. Anyway, and there is, I think what they call sound occlusion as well, but there are different ways of trying to make spatial sound and positional audio. And so most games that use, especially for example FPS or other games where it's important that you have positional audio, will use some form of HRTF or some form of positional audio. And this is important because especially here you can actually turn this off. And you probably won't hear it on the other end of the stream, because it's there's so much going on. But if you use it on your own headset, you will clearly hear the difference, and you will be less. It will be less easy for you to determine where the sound is coming from if you disable this effect.
I think if people are listening at home using their headset, they can also hear this.
You might be able to hear this. Yeah, we just for giggles, we might just give it a go, and,
because
you guys can let us know if you hear the difference.
It's a software trick.
Yes, indeed, and well, it's actually the game engine. It's a different profile in the game engine that's actually engaged or not. And I know that, for example, CSGO has been playing around with this for a while because, was it 2015 or something, they introduced HRTF, which is the position-bound audio. And then in end of 2017, they actually took it out of the game again because there were a lot of complaints about it. I also think at some point they made it so that you couldn't disable it, and people who didn't like it or who just, thought it was, well, it's different anyway, so it takes a while to get used to. So they were so used to their own stereo, you know, the way that they always did it, and they wanted to turn it off, and it wasn't possible. Anyway, so now they implemented it again like this, and so, yeah.
Edwin is asking, will MSI be on DreamHack, and is there a stream of the MSI booth? MSI will definitely be on DreamHack. We will have a booth there. We're currently actually looking into some options. If we can do a stream there, I think that we will have some streams from the booth.
Yeah.
But we're also looking into that. Maybe we can do a show from there.
Yeah.
So let us know if you will be interested.
Or if you're there.
Yeah, and if you're there, come visit us.
Cool. Yeah.
So MSI will definitely be at DreamHack, and we will have a booth there.
Yeah. Yeah. Also interesting, by the way, is that you can enable or disable VoIP. So that means voice over IP, which is, you know, people talking in the game. I usually disable it because it tends to be really annoying.
People screaming.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, you know, you learn a lot of interesting foreign words. Like, it's very effective. But you can actually, you know, either if you have it disabled, you just hear the voice and it's just, you know, it's stereo or whatever. It's there. But if you put it on enable this, basically, it will also try to emulate where that player is in regards to your location. So, you know, if you're playing with your team, for example, that can be quite cool because then you can instantly hear if it's your friend on your right or your left who's saying, "Oh, contact," you know, where they are meeting an enemy or something, and they don't even have to tell you where they are because you already hear it. Like, okay, so you're on my right, so we have trouble there, something like that. So, and of course, play audio and game in background. Hell no. Yeah. So these are some things. So let's jump into a game and see if you guys can hear the difference. So I'm disabling 3D audio processing at the moment.
So put on your headset.
Yeah, put on your headset. One. And I'll just go into a deathmatch for a second. And then let's see if you guys can hear the difference. Actually, I need to make it a little bit bigger because my head is apparently big or something.
Had a big lunch?
Yeah. Alright, let's roll. As you can see, we do have some data on the bottom right, so we enabled net graph there, just so we can keep an eye on FPS and stuff like that. And I can already hear some nice,
good, my friend?
some nice sounds.
Today, I mean. Yes? Or not?
That's nice.
Oh my god, really badass, my friend.
I will disable this because it's annoying. Let's see, where do I disable that again? Or is it just a console demand? I can't remember where it's located.
Should be audio, right?
Yeah, but it's not. You know what? I could just do it like this. I'll just mute everybody specifically. Oh, getting killed in the meantime. I think it was like, there is a console command for it, but I just can't remember.
I'm sure someone in chat knows the console command for it.
Yeah, if you know it, then let me know. It's like disable voice or something. I don't know. Oh, come on. This takes too long. I'm sorry for this, guys.
O6 is asking, any idea what HRTF does? So it on PUBG. So the head-related transfer function, it's like, how best to explain this? So instead of having the regular surround where you have the separate channels, it will actually use the game to have the full range of positional audio. And based on that game information, it will render the audio in a way that your brain perceives it as, for example, that person is walking behind me or that person is shooting above me. And you can do that more precise than when you're limited to certain channels. And this is actually something that works also with stereo headphones.
Let's not knife this guy. That's not nice. Oh, that was bad. Alright, so I don't know if you guys have already got enough of the positional or non-positional audio. But in games like this, it can really help you to try and figure out where you're being shot from, or, you know, PUBG as well. So let's turn on the directional sound.
It also differs
3D.
per game how good this is.
True, true.
Some games are definitely better at these kind of positional audio than others.
Yeah. I'm already hearing a massive difference.
So now you've got it switched on, right? Positional audio 3D.
Yes. In the game, yes.
In the game, yeah.
Oh, alright, well. We'll wait. Voice enable 0, yeah, there you go. Sandy Cortez, we do some live support, or we try to, but we are not like the technical support. Yeah, live support. We are not like the FAE
support,
or the tech support people. So we can.
If it's really specific questions, then it's better to contact tech support directly.
Exactly. Game audio is too low, so maybe can you turn up the game audio so they can maybe clearly hear the difference?
Should be a little bit higher now.
Alright, let's give it a go. AFK?
That was lame.
I know it was.
Is that spawn protection?
Yes.
Ah.
Oh, somebody spawned behind me there.
I hate spawn protection. I like to kill people directly when they spawn. So let us know if you hear the difference between the standard stereo that we just had and now with the positional audio switched on.
Здрасте.
Static target. I'm missing everything.
Вот это диссерваки, конечно.
Oh, that was my teammate, that's fine.
Кто в них входит?
Oh, this guy's called wallhack, that's nice. Maybe I'll do the voice command. There we go.
You had enable?
Yeah. So no.
Shouldn't it be disable?
It's enable 0.
Ah, okay. So 1 is on,
Yeah.
0 is off.
Binary.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that was too close. Alright, so I'm gonna see if I can disable the directional sound again. So I'll go ahead and disable it again. See if you guys can notice the difference. Wow, that was a loud bass there.
So now we're back to regular stereo sound.
Yep. And this is also just the stereo setting as well here.
So how's the mouse? Because you're using the GM30 now.
I really like it. The thing is, I'm a little bit. I have to sit like half towards the camera and half towards the screen, you know. So I'm not like sitting straight behind my desk.
Do you actually usually use symmetrical shaped mice?
Yes, yeah, I prefer the symmetrical shape, to be honest. Already for a long time. I don't know. Can you tell me what type of grip I'm using? Because I truly have no idea.
You're like in the middle of fingertip and palm grip. It looks a little bit like palm grip, but it doesn't look like you're actually touching the mouse with your palm.
Yeah, but I think I have the same thing that you mentioned, where when I'm
where you switch
shooting
in
something
between.
close,
Yeah.
I tend to press the palm of my hand a little bit closer to the mouse pad to be more precise,
Yeah.
or at least to try and be more precise. Ooh, didn't get killed there. Oh. Can you guys still tell the difference in direction? Is there any people in the chat saying something about that? Oh, you have a health shot. I've been
Sandy,
waiting.
there's so many variables on this that it's better to contact tech support because they will ask you certain questions they need to solve the problem. This is not something we can solve for you directly here, unfortunately. Everyone is asking, is the mouse heavy or light with holes? Well, this one doesn't have any holes, but it's 98 grams, I think, right?
Yeah, 98 grams without cable, so
Yeah.
for me it's quite light. It's very easy for me to just throw it around. But then again, I have like on a medium sensitivity, I guess. I actually don't know the exact number because I don't really change it.
Right before the stream, I was playing a little bit on this PC,
Yeah.
so I changed the sensitivity. Peter was not able to play with it.
Exactly. In this game, let's not forget, when you go to keyboard mouse and then you have like mouse sensitivity and a different sensitivity that you can apply for when you're zoomed in. Raw input, which I always suggest to turn on because it means that and mouse acceleration off because it just means that you get the exact movement, or
the mouse is sending
yeah,
to
basically as precise as you can get the mouse movement. It will also do that in the game. With mouse acceleration, if you slide the mouse fast, it will probably accelerate the movement on the screen. So it will not be one-on-one, you know, as in how you move on the mouse pad. It will not be the same movement in the game on the screen. And for me, that's something, you know, if you need consistency, something that you should always, go for the raw input and the raw mouse.
Mr. Masterdox making a good point. He said, I can tell even the stereo setting has some directional effect in it of itself. Yeah, of course, it's still multiple channels, so still you can interpret somewhat where it comes from, because what Peter explained before, you will hear it louder on one side than the other. And based on that, you can also, your brain is able to tell you roughly the direction already. But with the positional audio, this will be more precise. So you will hear more detailed where the person is coming from.
Yeah. So, let's see. I can put the positional audio on again. See if you guys notice the difference.
And this is always more complicated when you're watching and listening than when you're playing yourself. So
Yes.
if you have the chance, really try it out. For example, in Counter-Strike, the 3D function also works with stereo headphones. You don't need surround for this. But this is not something that's available in every game. So for some games, if you want more precise directional audio, then you will need surround. Shoot the chicken. Why are all the chicken everywhere, by the way?
Sorry?
In Counter-Strike?
Chickens.
Yeah, why are they there?
Because they're legendary. Because they need to be.
Okay.
A game without chickens is a game not worth having. Did I say that correctly?
I like chicken, but usually on my plate.
Wow. That's one way to have your chicken. You just want to have your chicken and eat it.
Exactly. Are you in a very entry-level server?
I'm sorry?
They're not very hard opponents.
No, not really. Oh, there's another one.
And he's down.
I nearly died. Nearly. I'm still not even first. I'm second.
Mr. Masterdoc saying the difference is little, but I think it's also something you need to adjust to. Yeah, definitely. You have to, especially if you have been playing this game in stereo a lot, then you're used to it, and being used to something will always benefit you a little bit. So it will take time to get used to something else. It's the same with the mouse as well. If you buy a new mouse, in the beginning you will probably perform worse than with your old mouse because you have to get used to the new one.
Yes.
So you have to adjust your muscle memory as well.
Oh my god.
But that doesn't mean that in the long run you will still perform worse with it.
Oh, indeed. I mean, I've had this experience where when I started with gaming and I wanted to take it a little bit more serious, and I bought my first, expensive gaming mouse. And I thought, all right, so everybody says this is the best mouse, so now I should be better at the game, right? This should make me not pro, but this should make me better. And then the days after that, I was gaming, and I actually did really badly. I was worse than I was before that. I was so disappointed. And it was just because, a flick movement, for example, you have muscle memory. So you have your muscles in your hand are at some point conditioned for a certain movement that they have to travel a certain distance, or and you will get the result. And if that's so hardwired into your system and into if you've been doing that for a long time specifically, then it's very hard to get used to a different offset, a different result. So it takes a while to get used to. So also make sure that you don't just buy a product and then don't give yourself the time to get used to it. You need to get used to it. This is normal. And I'm not saying that I'm good or something. I used to put a lot of time into these games. So when you put a lot of time into them, of course that will help you to get better. But yeah, I've been there, and I was really, really disappointed because I thought, did I spend, X amount of money just so that I could be worse at the game? I was so furious, But then again, if you give yourself a bit of time to get used to it, you might actually improve.
I did quite all right.
Yeah, it was fairly okay, I guess. Why is your gaming keyboard not wireless?
Because it has a wire.
Exactly. Because this is not a wireless model. This is the GK30, which is also a really nice keyboard that we have. It's a little bit more entry level. It tries to emulate the mechanical a little bit, but it's just a really good, solid keyboard with not too much, gaming stuff going on. Just a good, solid keyboard that will last you a long time. And still has some pretty cool effects with some nice RGB and stuff like that. So really solid key presses as well. There's we did a stream about this as well, but there's almost zero friggin' wobble on these keys. I mean, some of these keys you always see, when you do like this, they will wobble left and right quite a bit. But these keys actually, it's my finger that's doing the wobbling, but the key itself, I don't know if I can get this.
It's
close.
also because there is a box around.
Yeah, you can show that.
We drag a keycap off.
There you go. So this is what they call a box, because there's a square around the little cross that's holding the keycap basically. And this box also provides a lot more
stability
to the keycap. Indeed,
yeah. I was asking, which games are you playing the most for fun?
Oof. I don't play that much anymore, but I mean, Counter-Strike's always a good one because you can just jump in and, if you do competitive, it might be up to an hour, so that's a bit, different. But for casual, you just jump in and have a bit of fun. And then, for me, it's World of Tanks, World of Warships. It's a little bit slower paced, a bit more strategic as well. So
I have the same. I also have a fast-paced game that I sometimes play, and then I play Rocket League mostly if I want to play fast-paced game. And nowadays I'm really into Anno 1800 if I just want to relax, sit down, have a good beer, and then play some Anno.
Or even Crusader Kings or Europa Universalis, Hearts of Iron. I'm all over the place. Let's put it that way. I do have some games that I'm more invested into because you've invested a lot of time into it and stuff.
In the past, I mostly played arena shooters.
Yeah.
They were cool. Quake, Unreal Tournament. games like that.
Yeah, I used to play games like Counter-Strike a hell of a lot, and competitive as well, but at some point you
also played the earlier versions of Counter-Strike, right? Source
I tried to play 1.6, but because the skill cap was so high by the time I tried to start playing it. I used to be Delta Force series guy. I used to play Delta Force. I started with Delta Force 2, I think. Then was 3, Land Warrior, Task Force Dagger, and then after that it was Black Hawk Down, I think. But it was, not really my thing anymore. It all became too fancy and 3D and stuff. And then Counter-Strike was already quite popular, but 1.6 had been around for quite long, so I tried playing it, but I hated the game because you just didn't get a chance to get good. The skill cap was so high that it didn't matter which server you went into, you would instantly just get shot, and you didn't really know what you were doing wrong. You didn't really get a chance to learn. At least that's how it felt for me, never having played any Counter-Strike games before. But I was lucky because right after that, Counter-Strike Source was released. And that was completely different. That kind of leveled the playing field. Everybody had to learn how to play again. It was the hitboxes, everything was completely different.
And matchmaking also got a lot better. Like for example, the older arena shooters, Unreal Tournament and Quake, they had a really big skill gap with the people that played for a longer time and people that just entered the game, and they ended up in the same servers. So they really got wrecked there. Now, for example, in Rocket League, and I think it's the same in Counter-Strike, you have more advanced matchmaking that people that just start a game end up against other people that are not extremely experienced in the game. And people who played
like the
it for
system. So you're skill group is hidden. I don't even know.
And even if you're playing unranked, if you're playing in casual, you still have like a hidden elo rating, pretty much MMR, so where it defines your skill level and matches you.
Then again, you still have what's called smurfing.
Yeah, you always have
people who make new accounts and or intentionally lose games so that their ranking will be very low, so that whenever they go into a game and they just want an easy game, they take that account, and then it's not really cheating, but it's quite lame.
I'm not the biggest fan of it.
No, you can quite easily tell usually when it happens, but
Ed was asking, do you also play Call of Duty?
Not yet. I'm waiting for Modern Warfare to come out. I mean, to be fair, Call of Duty has not been. It's too much of a Twitch shooter. Am I saying that right?
I really like I was a huge fan of the older Call of Duties. Like 1 and 2, Second World War type of. I think the first Modern Warfare was
too futuristic.
I'm not a big fan of the leveling part of it. I like an even playing field. So that was. I think the first 2 Call of Duties were really good. After that, they were not really my type of game.
No.
Mr. Masterdog saying Civilization 6. I've heard more people about that, especially when I mentioned that I play Anno nowadays. They usually recommend Civilization, so maybe I should try that out.
I think, was it 4? 4 was also really good, right? Civilization 4. Yeah.
No, I've never played any Civilization before.
I have, but it's so time consuming.
Yeah, it's the same with Anno. It takes ages. And for me, it's especially complicated because I never played any Anno games before. And 1800 is actually the first Anno game I played.
You should, just for nostalgia's sake, I mean, you didn't play the old ones, but you have to just, to appreciate where they came from.
1404, I always hear.
They were all, well, what was it?
You also have like the futuristic stuff.
Yeah, that one's, it's okay, but
it's usually people like either the ones in the past or the ones in the future, but they never like both somehow.
No, I really like the old ones as well. So that's, I used to play the old, I think it's 1601 or 1602, that was the first one. 1602 probably. Okay. Yeah, because there's something about their titles, if you pay attention to it, that it always adds up to 1800 or something like that. So it has to be 1602, because 16 and 2 is 18. And so you have more of this 1503, I think, was one of those things as well.
The tricks with the name.
Something like that, it's quite funny. But just the whole concept is nice, and it's good to see that they stuck to it. So, but it's really long. And I mean, it's the same for games like, what is it? We were talking about earlier, Age of Empires 2. Some of these games could drag on for freaking hours.
Yeah, but still, like, with Age of Empires 2, I also had some like longer games, but then they were like 4 or 5 hours maybe. With Anno, I'm currently in a game of over 20 hours. It's on a different level in terms of how long it takes. So
True.
Age of Empires, I play the full game at once. I cannot do that with Anno.
No?
I cannot stay awake for that long.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll
that's
just
the
save the
thing.
game and continue some other time.
Ain't nobody got time for that when you have life.
Mr. Masterdogs played Civilization 4, 5, and now 6.
Yeah.
So you're an experienced Civilization player.
But I mean, Civilization, you can save and come back to it later. That's why some of these
like
games
Anno.
I play, like also like Europe Universalis, Hearts of Iron. That those games you can just save and then get back to it like a day later or something. It doesn't matter. You can go and do stuff that needs to be done. You don't have to sit there and or else you'll lose or give up or.
Yeah.
So that's.
Baltic Seal saying try the Hunter Call of the Wild.
Yeah, I heard some things about that. You need lots of time. It's like a hunting simulator. So you actually go and hunt big game or something like that in the game. It's
You know
quite,
what I
and you have to
tried last
go.
weekend?
You have to go actually tracking and stuff and.
Last weekend I tried Goat of Duty.
Goat of Duty. Yeah, I heard about that. That one. Yeah.
It's like a hybrid of Goat Simulator and
Call
Quake.
of Duty. Oh, I thought Call of Duty.
Yeah, in the name it's like that, but like gameplay-wise, it's like an arena shooter with goats. It was pretty fun, but it's still in its very early stages, so it still needs to develop a little bit further.
And it sounds like it's more. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, definitely
It's like
not.
it's like Worms for those who remember that. It's just silly and funny and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
Probably.
can get different costumes for your goat and stuff.
Skins.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it really works with skins. You can just pick different.
Just wait, it will. And
Yeah,
loot
probably.
boxes
Probably. Yeah, loot boxes. I think they're dragging them out of some games already.
could be. Yeah. Anyway, do you know what time it is?
Time for another winner.
That's correct. And our last winner, I think.
Our last
for
winner
today.
for today. So if you didn't win today, next week you have another chance to win one of the $20 Steam wallet codes.
Correct. And let us know about the products. What do you guys think of them? What is the most important thing? We know, the buttons on the side, the thumb buttons. That's noted. But if there are any other things that you really pay attention to when picking your peripherals, your mouse, your headset, your keyboard, just let us know what is the most important thing that you're looking for, and what do you think about our products, and give them a go. If you get a chance in a shop and you see them there, give them a go and let us know what you think about them. Right, so we have our last winner for the day is called Danosaur. Congratulations. And yeah, we'll send the code to you as soon as possible in the coming days. Have fun with it.
And I think that's about it for today.
Yeah, that's pretty much wraps it up for today.
So next week, still a big surprise, I think.
Yeah, we have something cool planned, but we can't tell you guys yet.
Yeah.
So you'll have to just tune in next week and find out. But it's supposed to be pretty cool.
Yeah, so hope to see you next week.
Exactly.
And thank you for joining today.
And as always,
see you next time.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.